Okay, so here for 7.31, I have redrawn the pedigree and sort of color coded it a little bit different than the book, but you should be able to figure it out, right? Hemophilia is color coded as blue. Color blindness is color coded as red, or sort of red slashed. These are both X-linked genes. And so here, just like we've always done with pedigrees, I think a good first thing to do is to draw out all of the genotypes that you already know. So here you have, because it's X-linked, all of the males are just going to have one X chromosome. So you basically can just look at them and you can see what the genotypes of the males are. So 1-1, the genotype is hemophilia, because the male has hemophilia, and wild type for color blindness. Otherwise, the male would be expressing that color blindness. For 2-1 here, you have the male is wild type. For 2-3, the male is wild type colorblind. For 3-1, hemophilia, wild type, and for 3-2 and 3, wild type colorblind. So you could also, I like to do this too, is just write out the genotypes right next to them, but just for spacing purposes, I put it over here. And so the first question is, what is the genotype of female 2-2, this female right here? So you already know that because the male only has one X chromosome, the male is going to pass down his X chromosome to the father is going to pass down the X chromosome to the daughter, right? So you already know that one of the chromosomes is going to be hemophilia wild type from the father. From the mother, you don't necessarily know here, because you could have, since there's 2 X chromosomes, you could have some crossing over going on and whatever. But you do know that for the hemophilia gene, this individual has a wild type, right? Because she's not expressing hemophilia nor color blindness, right? So you know that the female has a wild type of the hemophilia. And then because the offspring here, 2 of her offspring are colorblind, right? And it couldn't have come from the father, you know that she has to have the colorblind allele here. And so this is her genotype, right? Hemophilia, wild type, colorblind. So that answers question A. So now for question B, is there evidence in these offspring that recombination went on, or that there was a crossing over event between the 2 genes in the production of the gametes from female 2-2? And so here, the evidence that let's just look at what would happen if recombination did occur. And so here's the female, right? You're not going to get, since these are all 3 are male, you're not going to be getting any X chromosomes from the father, so that doesn't matter, right? So, but let's just look at what would happen, or what we should see if there was a crossing over event occurring between these 2 genes in the production of the gametes of the female individual 2-2. And so here is how the chromosomes are oriented in the female. So if we have a crossing over event occurring here, the crossing over event would result in a wild type and a hemophiliac with color blindness, right? And so here you would then look in that next generation for either of those 2 to be present, because that is what evidence of recombination would look like. Here we don't see evidence of recombination. We see hemophilia wild type, which is this gamete, right, with no recombination between the genes, and wild type color blindness, which is this gamete from the female with no evidence of recombination. Okay, so that's 7.3.1.